My name is Meredith Burkholder, and I am the founder and director of Webfest Berlin.
I'm Thomas Verrier. I'm the co-director of Challenger, a web series with a competition in the Webfest Berlin.
I'm Thibaut Marty. I'm a co-director on the Challenger, and we are here to present the web series, the 8th episode made out of the competition.
I'm Anne Santa Maria. I'm a member of the board of advisors of Webfest Berlin.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm here at Webfest Berlin talking about mindsets, the power of our mindsets, how they influence our experience of being here, how they influence our creativity, how they relate to our potential and our application of that potential.
So I worked for many years producing commercial photography and then commercials and reality television, working in production management, and then I was kind of burned out from all of it and not making things that I was really excited or proud of, and so I had moved away from New York and moved to Berlin and was just looking to get on set somewhere and see who was doing what. And I stumbled into a web series called Mission Backup Earth that was shooting here in Berlin. And they needed some help, just some management help, and I did a little things here and there for them. And that show ended up winning the Grand Jury Prize in the Melbourne Webfest, which meant that it got into the Marseille Webfest and the LA Webfest, and I started to learn about these festivals. And we thought, Berlin needs this. This is something that I can really get behind and that I believe in, and that it's a way to tell whatever story you want to tell, and for independent creators to really be able to get their work seen. And paired with the film history of Berlin and the technology and the startup ideas happening in Berlin as well, I thought, let's put it all together and make a Webfest here.
That's pretty funny. We were together working at a radio, and one of the journalists happened to talk about the Nikon Film Festival, and Thibaut had some beginning of writing of the story of Challenger.
It was a novel, but it was too
graphic.
I wanted to go on the pictures and not only on writing, so I proposed to Thomas collaboration.
I proposed me the script, and they say, okay, let's film it.
So my background, I've been for 20 years into the fiction content world, and I have been pretty much my profile is about innovating, bringing companies to new formats. For example, for TF1, I used to launch the first 1-hour show on air, trying to be creative, and this is where I launched myself into the digital world and be a pioneer on web series in France. Did the first one for Studio Cat and the first one for Arte Creative. I'm also a producer, manager, director of business units. That's what I did in different positions, like in the Fremantle Media Group and more recently Newen. And I had experience abroad internationally. I did a long time ago, but I did worked in the States and in Australia, Sydney. So that's pretty much about me.
It's about Matt. It's a killer, and he's going back to the road to get one last
mission.
Yeah. And it's about 8 chapters with no dialogue.
Yeah, you got only narrators. They are telling you the story of Matt, and it's narrative clips. So the characters aren't talking to each other. It's kind of cop noir with 80s touch.
Little bit of fantastic inside too.
So a lot of my work is around supporting individuals and organizations in accessing their highest potential. Most of my work tends to be within the creative industries. And I really work with people to help them develop a deeper understanding of how they are creating their mindsets and their realities in every given moment. I help them to understand their power that they have to rewire their minds, essentially. I'm of the belief system that our minds are goal-seeking supercomputers, and our self-talk is the program that we're feeding it. And so if we have this ability to collaborate with our minds, why not work in a way that maximizes its functionality? And so there are a number of different techniques that come into play here.
Before, since 2007, I made some mistakes. I made some short movies, and but alone, and I didn't want to work alone anymore. So I proposed to Thomas, like a marriage. I proposed.
That's the first time that I'm directing and acting. Yeah. It's my first project.
My background is in brand creation, public relations, communication. And I'm good at that because I have a high level of emotional intelligence. I found myself about 2 years ago contemplating what it is that I'm doing and how I want to be contributing to the world. And I realized that for me it is imperative that I'm channeling my gifts and abilities into creating a reality that supports our well-being and the well-being of those that come next. And driving luxury consumerism was almost in direct opposition with that. And so I have essentially just peeled back what I've always done and made it available to a wider audience. So I had the pleasure of meeting Meredith, the founder of Webfest Berlin, at an event we were at maybe 6 or 7 months ago, and I spoke to her about many of the things that I'm very interested in, that are all around human potential and development. And she too resonated with a lot of the things that I was talking about, and understood there to be great value in us bringing that here. You know, the creative process is a challenging one. It's a challenging one. It allows you, actually it requires you to go to places that you haven't gone before. It requires you to have a relationship with self that means you're okay with putting yourself out there. You have to be resistant. You have to be resistant to rejection. You have to employ a growth mindset in order to do well, to always be learning from what it is that's happening without getting too stuck in the detail. I think that there's great value in everyone having access to this knowledge, to thinking more about the relationship they have with themselves, with the ways in which they communicate with themselves. Not just those in the creative industries, but there's a need here, sure.
Advice for a young filmmaker. You are talented and you are passionate and you're a hard worker, but you need to be a good communicator. You need to be a good social media user. You need to work in teams to be an entrepreneur, and this is how you can control what you do and exchange and find partners. But stay connected with the other people's stuff, the media press. And get incorporated in the market, with lots of passion and still, the energy that you do have, and keep your talent, aware and awake.
I think that for me, the biggest takeaway. Okay, so there are two things, and I started my talk with these. So one is for us all to have a deeper awareness of how we're creating our realities in every given moment, how we're contributing to our mindset in the way that we speak to ourselves all the time. And the other is that our minds are goal-seeking supercomputers, and the way that your mind is understanding what it is that you want it to do is by listening to what it is that you're saying, either to yourself or to others. And so to be far more intentional about what it is that you're asking, to champion ourselves more, to really celebrate the work that we're doing, to create a mental environment that facilitates growth.
Okay.
The web series is very interesting because it sums up all the content that you can see on TV, but in another treatment with another point of view, another length, and another tone, and another freestyle. So it's pretty much when you love stories, you'll enjoy web series because they are full, rich, unique, and they offer you another angle on today's, content, live trends, zeitgeist, and it's another way of listening, watching, and enjoying storytellings. What I understand is there's no difference between someone who really wants his content and his story to be on screen. The means are different, the craft and the know-hows are different, but the energy is pretty the same one. When you're passionate, you find your own tools and ways to offer your story. It's true that in film school they are being taught in a certain way to do things, and it's fantastic because they're very attracted to telling stories, series and films. When you're self-produced, sometimes you don't have as many means as you can have in film school, but the technology now is lighter and lighter, and you can always find with the software the way to edit your story and your shooting, and sometimes you're a bit more isolated than you could be in film school, because in film school you have like your partners and your other students that can help you, and teachers and all the people that are surrounding you that can help you to discuss about your topics. When you self-produce, of course you're leading a team, but sometimes you need to confront your content to other creators, so maybe sometimes it's a bit different.
Lots of contacts.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
Really
awesome
nice.
where we could introduce ourselves and meet a lot of different people.
European people in production, in factory, of
directors, actors, and you can meet a lot of really different kind of actors in the web series area, and it's pretty important for us because it allows us to maybe try to move forward and improve our knowledge and maybe our technique in future projects.
If you are newcomers on the market of web series, you have to go to Berlin one time at least.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah, we
In
love
Berlin show?
Wishlist.
Wishlist.
Wishlist
Really nice.
in Berlin, it's pretty awesome.
We saw Terror 404, the Canadian show.
404, yeah.
Mouvement de Luxe.
Really
great.
It's
So funny.
Also the German
Everything is
stuff
nice.
with the two guys who want to buy Legos.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I don't remember the name. So yeah, a lot of
Everything is-
really good projects. It was astonishing. I was stunned because
Everything
the
is
quality,
different.
the quality is really here.
Everything is different, but with a high level.
Well, today's Berlin third edition is a very, very interesting edition. We try to focus on the web strategy. Today, okay, you can self-produce yourself. You are able to reach, the commissioners and distributors and providers on the market. So now you need to be strategic. How do you pitch yourself? How do you pitch your content? How do you approach these people? They're interested in you because they're desperate for content, but it's about being strategic about this, web series community that is growing, and it is much more well organized than it used to be 10 years ago. So today is about, the specificity of this festival is the strategy of being part of this new way of presenting content and the use of them and their position on the market.
In Berlin, I think what we really focus on moving the industry forward. We try and bring as many distributors here, as many creators here, as many broadcasters here, to get everybody in the same room and to really see what's happening, what are the trends in the market globally. We have a really, really global audience. People here today are from Canada, Australia, France, Japan, Italy, the U.S., really coming from all over the place. I think if we can all convene in one place, we really push it forward, and we really look to get these shows sold and to get the platforms more visibility. So I think we're really focusing on the business here and the market and moving the industry forward. I mean, I think that right now, everyone's question, of course, is still who's really making money making web series, and I think this is where we're still working out which platform has the best business model, which way is it going to go, which platforms are going to rise up and which are going to fall, because really we hear about almost every day a new, almost every day we have a new platform being launched, and so we're not sure what's going to last, what's going to work, what's not going to. I mean, in my opinion, I think that a good model will be a micropayment system. I think it's really easy to pay 5 cents, 10 cents per episode that you can click right on your phone if you have in your platform. Yes, just a small payment, sure. Of course, the subscription model works as well, and I think that feeds you down into a subscription model. But I think to get people hooked and to not be having necessarily free content, this is a good idea. But it's also yet to be decided what's working and what's not. And so I think that we're going to see in the next 2-3 years really, which models are working and the explicit direction of the industry. Yeah, I mean, if we can afford it, right? I mean, Bitcoins are worth hundreds of euros now, or I mean, it's exactly. I mean, we don't know how we're gonna do it, but we are seeing. I think that Black Pills is being successful at the moment. I think we haven't gotten the numbers out yet to know exactly, but the reports that I hear are good, and they have a free platform that is a pay to get rid of the advertising. They have advertising based business model, which seems to be working. People seem to be watching. There's been some other platforms. I think Studio Plus was launching with a subscription model that was just for short form series, but I don't know that has been working as well. Again, it's still super early, and I don't have the exact market numbers. This is just kind of word on the street. But I think we're just starting to get these first reports back of some of the bigger investments, and then we'll see how it shakes out. I'm sorry. You really missed out. No, I'm kidding. I would say to check out the shows that we've seen here. I think we have a really strong selection, and you can see a really diverse group of shows in different styles. I would suggest as well, we had live streamed on Facebook on WebV Guide. They have the top picks, which we did yesterday afternoon. Joël Bassager and Anne Santamaria, they're 2 festival advisors, and they presented their top 6 picks, which were also representative of the trends that we're seeing now in the industry. And I think that is a really good place to kind of start and understand what we're looking at this point in the market.
Come next time.
Come, hurry up.
Yeah.